So, a new day, a new series it seems. Obviously, having been on a diet for so long, I have to be careful, but it's not going to stop me from eating out. So join me today on Burton Road, West Didsbury for my new series, Eating Out on a Diet. Cheers. The variance in Manchester between little suburbs, areas, parts of the city centre which have reopened after the lockdown easing and haven't is quite stark, and this area is absolutely buzzing. I'm going to take you on a little stroll down the Burton Road, see what's open, and then we'll get to our destination where we're going to try Italian. So as you can see, it's absolutely buzzing around here. All the pavements are full of tables, chairs, people enjoying themselves, which is the way I like to see it. I have to say, personally, I actually prefer sitting outside if at all possible. Obviously, it often isn't in this part of the world, but as long as it's not brass monkeys, fine by me. Of course, it's slightly unfortunate for places that don't happen to have a wide pavement next to them. I guess when they opened their businesses, they didn't know any of this was actually going to happen and come to fruition. And of course, you might have noticed that everywhere around here is mainly some sort of foreign type of food, and that's because the UK doesn't really have its own street food culture so much. That's not to say British dishes are bad, but they're all quite heavy winter dishes, most of the specialities. They're all stews, casseroles, fish and chips, not exclusively, and I have to be honest, I don't find it that exciting myself, but many do. And of course, whilst fish and chips is a perfectly pleasant way of having fish, for some people in this country it's the only way they have fish, which is a pity. Now, the Namaste Nepal that we're coming up to is definitely a place I'll cover. Of course I can't today because we're going somewhere else, but it's a very, very nice restaurant serving mainly Indian food, but some interesting Nepali specialities. And given I know the owners of this and sister restaurant, the Great Kathmandu, I'm likely to be able to get what I need in terms of sugar-free food. Though Indian food is good for avoiding sugar. A lot of it has sugar, but a lot of it doesn't. Have a Caribbean rum bar here. Speciality wine bar. I haven't had a glass of wine for God knows how long, 4 months or something. I sort of miss it, but not to the point where I'm desperate for one, and I'll probably have a couple of glasses a couple of weeks after my second shot of vaccine, sometime in late May. But that might well be in another country, of course. And there, of course, we have the Great Kathmandu restaurant. It did, was it last year, I think, win the best Nepalese restaurant in the UK. And of course, those who follow me regularly will have noticed that I do order takeaways from this place. In some ways convenient, because getting cauliflower rice and such things isn't the easiest thing to do. And in front of us we have the Metropolitan Pub, which is a huge inside public house with a massive beer garden. So had I been drinking, this is possibly the place where I would have come to watch City play tomorrow, but it'll be at home in front of the TV with water, I think, instead. So as you can see here, they have quite a large outdoor seating area, and the last time I was here they did have a big screen as well. And here we have Green's Vegetarian Restaurant. I'd be happy to give that a go sometime. I must admit I've not eaten there. So all settled in and ordered, of course, as usual, just the old H2O for me on the diet, and I'm with the family who are not on diets, and they've ordered a very nice red wine, Cannonau from Sardinia, one of my personal favourites. I'm not that strong on Italian wine, but this one I know is pretty good. Rosé champagne. I was a bit late arriving, so I didn't see which brand of champagne had been ordered. Does anybody know? The bottle might provide a clue as to the brand of the champagne. Cheers. And I have never heard of that one before. Vegatina Rosé. Is that Prosecco or champagne? And Olivia is enjoying being out for the first time in a while. Cheers, Olivia. Here we have minestrone soup served with bread. Minestrone is not just minestrone, for those of you thinking, oh, it's just an ordinary dish. That's cobblers. It's often messed up in just tomato soup with a bit of vegetables and pasta underneath. Here we have melanzane parmigiana, aubergine or eggplant coated with parmesan cheese and a tomato sauce. That, if you just have it and a few veggies, is actually reasonably diet friendly, but I've been itching for seafood today, so I'm passing on that. I will have that another time though. And Barbara has gone for a crab salad. Okay. And here we have what the crowd likes to see, the important thing, the oysters. 6 months since I last had them, and I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to them. Now, of course, food snobs, of which you might think I'm one, would say, oh, you have to have these just plain. Now, I agree with them that they're by far at their best when they're just fresh and chilled and eaten raw, but I don't think unless they're the creme de la creme top-notch oysters that it's wrong to add spicy sauces to them if that's what you like, and I do like that. Cooked oysters, yeah, they're okay, but raw is better in my opinion. If you're unsure of the provenance of them or the water cleanliness in the area they're produced, obviously cooked is a safer bet.
There's no sugar in my bread.
I've been missing that. And now to try the house sauce. I've kind of drenched that a little bit, so I'll pour a bit out. So now it's, yes, I brought my own sauce. It's time to mix up the medicine. Not too much of this though. So there we are. Didn't take me long to demolish those, and it's a seafoody day for me, so let's crack on with the main course. So I do quite like swordfish because it's a meaty, firm fish, comes as a steak. It's not the strongest tasting fish, but it's an oily fish. I like a bit of oil and juice in my fish, and oily fish are supposed to be good for you. And that isn't my mash, by the way. I don't eat potatoes. And then we have broccoli there with chilli and spinach with garlic. And I'm going to have a few tomatoes as well. So I don't know what the Italian is, but in Spanish, buen provecho. And the other dishes on the table, which I'm obviously not eating, sea bream. 3 people have ordered it. It is the one with extra garlic, and they've all ordered it off the bone. Me, on the bone, massively prefer it, but I guess it's easier to eat. But for me, it just loses that little bit of flavour, and I like the head, the cheeks, and everything. And we have a veal chop probably something that goes well with the red wine. I don't know how it's cooked. I think they usually do it medium here. Oh, look at those juices oozing out. And you can tell that's not overcooked. Sauce just made out of olive oil, olives, capers, peppers and tomatoes. And pretty diet friendly as well, I might add. Now to try the vegetables. So the broccoli is lovely, firm, green, vibrant, with chilli, garlic, not cooked in too much oil or anything like that, exactly how it should be. I said I'm not a food snob, but what I will say is if you overcook vegetables so that they're a mushy texture, pale green colour, then you're committing a crime. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people, children and some older people, just never like vegetables, simply because they've just been cooked incorrectly. And now for the spinach. Again, beautiful colour, clearly hasn't been overcooked. Again, bursting with flavour. Wow, has a bit of a kick to it as well. Oh my goodness. But I'm not going to complain about that. Slightly unusual for Italian cuisine, but they do use chili sometimes. So let's try the tomato salad now. And in case you're thinking, oh, it's just a tomato. No, a tomato is not just a tomato. They vary in quality so much, and a nice piece of basil and an onion. So let's give it a try. And to be honest, when you have a tomato salad, it's basically all about the produce, the tomato, the oil, the herbs.
Delicious, huh?
Yep, that's fantastic. A little bit of salt and pepper. Don't be afraid of salt, it's a part of the cuisine. People in cooler countries overdo the dangers of salt a little bit, but not for me to tell people that. But when you see tomatoes in the supermarket, what I can advise is get tomatoes that are imported from somewhere where there's a lot of sun.
Don't buy Dutch tomatoes.
Don't buy Dutch duds in the
That's what I'm
supermarkets.
saying.
Yes, I agree entirely.
Never ever.
If you buy the Dutch duds, you'll get something that looks okay but has very little
Never.
flavour. And it's just to do with the sun. It's not anything against Dutch
the way how they grow it.
Dutch tomatoes or anything, and it's probably the same for most English tomatoes as well. It has to be done in greenhouses, not the same thing. I will say, however, that the Spanish tomato is still king in my opinion. So, another empty plate. That always means the food was good, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Don't be afraid of swordfish if you see it. Always try something different. Don't get into the habit of ordering the same thing every time. And of course, the standard end to all of my meals, and from my favourite coffee producer, Illy.
Anyway,
Cheers.
that's all right, Jason. Don't worry.
So, a great meal out, a real pleasure again to be out after England's reopening after the 12th of April. I'm going to leave the cost of the meal on the screen because it's quite hard for me to calculate it from a bill with loads of people, but I'll leave the cost of what I had. I'm going to leave the link to the restaurant in the description box. Please don't forget to add any comments you wish to, positive or negative. Like it or dislike it as you like. And I'll see you on the next one. That was Eating Out on a Diet Italian. And don't forget, you can't beat a bit of mutton.